Good evening and welcome to the Power Hour from Lowell, Massachusetts, here at InsideLowell. I've got a couple of gentlemen here with me tonight. I'm 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐏𝐿. It's been a while since I've done a podcast of any sort besides Daily Dose. Daily Pulse. Daily Dose is where I get my coffee in life. Unintentional plug.
Daily Dose, sponsored by the Hot Spoon.
Yes, there you go. So I got, why don't you introduce yourselves, boys?
On Stutz.
And the Cali Llama, Sean Callahan.
All right, thanks for being here, boys. All right, so tonight we just decided to take a little walk downtown, see what was going on.
Peruse
a little bit. It's Friday night, and we ran into a little protesting.
Yeah,
little anti-ice action.
A little anti-ice. It was. I got to admit, first of all, and on the way back, we saw them filling the streets. Right, all 30 of them. Yep. There's probably more than 30 of them, right?
Ish.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's two protests going on, right? There's one on the Whitney, Lad Whitney monument.
Oh yeah.
Which I feel like you might have been offended by, Callie.
I was extremely offended by that. Yes.
What's your position on protesting on the Lad Whitney monument?
My position is, and look, I take it. I guess I am a huge Civil War buff, especially from Lowell, especially for Lowell Civil War. I honor the fact that we are the city that has two of the first casualties of the Civil War, and they're buried in that space under the Lad Whitney Memorial. And it's to have them stand on there is just, to me, is just disrespectful. And it's just,
They said they had a permit.
They said they had a permit, but when I asked them, can I see it? They're like, go talk to the chief of police. And they said, you know the chief of police, go talk to him. I'm like, well, where's your permit? No, go talk to the chief of police. And it's all they had to do was just get on the sidewalk. And then they said, well, we can't be on the sidewalk.
Yeah, but why weren't they with the other protest? It's two different groups of protesters, right?
It seems to me like 8 people could probably fit on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Without blocking foot traffic.
Well, they said they weren't allowed to. But was it two different groups of protesters?
No, I think they were the same.
I think they were the same. They were just probably trying to gather more views.
I don't think so. I think they seemed like they were different people. I mean, they were different people, obviously. They can't be two.
I think they were all part of the same group, but it was kind of maybe it was a splinter group. Maybe it's
So I saw something that there was a group. There were two groups coming. I don't know if that's for tomorrow, for the rally against the Latin Kings or whatever. Is that against?
No, I think it's the
Kings.
The what? The Los Angeles Kings?
The Los Angeles Kings. I don't know. I guess they have the problem with ice hockey or something. I don't know.
It's not the Royals, is
They
it?
hate Wayne Gretzky.
They do?
Or maybe it's the Sacramento Kings. They must have a thing against a bonus or something. I don't know.
So I got to admit, it was kind of fun asking some questions, right? We had a little
Q&A
interaction with some of the protesters. Mm-hmm. They seem to be very level-headed people.
Misguided, but level-headed.
I will say this. When they walked down the street, it wasn't that impressive. They had police escorts. They stayed to one, they were in a lane. Did you see them?
Yeah, they were.
They stayed in one lane.
I mean, these people all obviously wore masks in COVID, right?
There were a lot of mask wearers.
Yeah.
There were a lot of familiar faces down there. So we have video.
The ones that you could see.
Yeah, I mean, we have video, but we want to make sure Teddy, we wouldn't show it without talking to Teddy first. So we'll vet it through Teddy and see if he wants to do anything with it. But that guy, and he was not a fan of yours.
No, he was not.
He knew who you were, though.
Well, when we first approached the Lad Whitney, he came up and introduced himself to me, and
nobody knew what board you were on.
Oh, you talked about the other gentleman? Yeah, he knew. No, he didn't know what board I was on. He said he mispronounced the board. He's like, oh.
For the listeners, Callie voiced pleasure.
I'm the vice chair of the zoning board of appeals
with folks protesting on the Lad Whitney.
And yeah, the one gentleman
which happened earlier in the year, correct, Callie? There was a protest earlier in the year that people objected to and said, hey, protest away, but just can we not do it on the Lad?
Yeah, I've seen it happen before, and nobody. Yes, there was a protest before on the.
Why did they have to block the street for a couple? I mean, that was just a couple of minutes, but I'm like, come on, it's bad for downtown,
Well, especially when you're trying to get people into downtown to go to the local establishments. It's like
there was, there was plenty of parking though.
Oddly enough, when we did our interviews, one person quickly said, no, if you're an illegal migrant, you shouldn't be here. And then one person was basically like, no, cut the line. Like, if you're going to work hard and protect your family, then you should do whatever you want.
The wizard guy was interesting.
Yeah.
He does not like Trump.
Not a fan of Trump?
I don't know. He kept.
There were no fans of Trump.
He had a nice felt hat and a cane, though.
He did. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's walking. He had a little pimp walk.
You know what? For a cane, he was very swift. Like, he had a very nice pace to his walk.
I feel like it was a fashion accessory more than a necessity.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see if his
Kind of
shoes
like
had,
the guy with like the fish bowl
Yeah,
and the high heel.
I was going to say the same thing. If you get a chance to see his shoes, whether they had fish bowls in them.
Purple felt high heel, bell bottoms.
I think we all agree that this actually was a peaceful.
It was a unique crowd. I'll say that.
It was a peaceful protest, a unique crowd.
Yeah.
It was fun to see. And these people care about like what they're protesting.
They do care. I may think they're slightly misguided in my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I see both sides of it. I mean, I think my main concern is that if you get ice out of Lowell, I don't really like hot coffee. I don't know what you
Oh, me.
you know? No, I get it.
Yeah.
But there weren't a lot. I didn't see a lot of. There wasn't a lot of diversity there. Like I didn't see any like what I would expect to see out of the immigrant community. And by the way, they kind of framed like it wasn't. Nobody's anti-immigrant around here, right? Like
No, we're melting pot
Lowell
city.
is not a anti-immigrant city. I mean, let's be serious,
yeah.
right?
I mean, and I asked one kid like, what's the difference between this, mass deportation versus the one with during COVID or the one during Obama's administration? And I don't know. I didn't really get a great response.
Yeah. And he was asking, he started mentioning about the fact that all his family came over back in the like early 1900s. And
Well, yeah, so
but
everybody
it's a different time. It's a different era. And then he's
all
like,
of our ancestors.
Yeah.
yeah, all of them did. But it's like, it's a different time, it's a different era and more population. He's like, no, we had the same population back in 1970. No, we didn't.
So what's the difference between
Yeah.
immigration then? Let's just take the year 1900 roughly.
Yeah.
1900 versus today.
There were less than 100 million people in the country. And
Yeah.
there was room, there were jobs, we needed people.
There were
was a
states.
need.
There were states that weren't even
demand.
formed yet.
We had no welfare state yet either.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's
there's
a
lot of
big
things.
one, right?
The
There was
industrial.
no Social Security. There was no income tax. There was a lot of things were different. You really can't compare.
So basically, if you
And they were on their own.
right, if you came here in 1900 and there's a demand for you to come, they need workers, they need labor, and they don't particularly care. And the people that were coming here were hungry for that opportunity, right? They wanted to work, they wanted to produce for themselves, for their family, and make a better life for themselves, which I think we would all agree with, as would the protesters. But I think the difference today is you have so many people coming who have no intentions of working. And I'm not saying that all of them, I don't want to be misconstrued there, right? There's plenty of people that do want to work, and great. But I'm not sure how, and we had an interview with a person where we asked the question of, why would this person who just cut the line within the last couple of years, why would that person just because they want to work, like they should cut the line over someone who went through the legal process, did things the right way 20 years ago,
Who probably wants to work as well.
who probably also wants to work and may have a situation in which they have housing, they have a job lined up. Why should this person who cut the line, did things illegally, why should they jump ahead of the line?
who would also
ahead of the person
who would also
10 or
pay
20 years
taxes. The person coming through legally would also pay taxes.
Well,
It's a fair question.
Illegals do pay taxes though.
Look,
If you're working.
yeah, income.
If you're working, you do pay into Social Security.
Yeah.
Through a TIN. A lot of them do.
Interesting question. Let's take the Inn Conference Center, and how many of those folks who are living there, how many are working and paying taxes? Just curious. That'd be an interesting question.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure no one has that data, but maybe you do.
I mean, they are. That's a little different. But a lot of those folks are getting jobs, and they're really, they're really trying hard. Like
I'm not saying that they're
English
not.
lessons and everything else. I don't mind. Like those are asylum seekers that, if
Yeah, the
we-
Haiti one's interesting, right? Because it was primarily Haitians in there, right? Or overwhelmingly, let's say.
Yeah.
Do they have a legit asylum claim? Like they're like on the borderline, right?
I don't know, man. Like if your country's so bad, you got to send Kenyan troops in. You're doing pretty bad.
Yeah. But did you have to send the Kenyan troops in, or was that like a USAID
I don't know.
thing?
It's hard to find good information about
Because
what's
as
going
soon
on.
as the USAID money dried up, all of a sudden the Kenyans weren't so interested in Haiti.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting point.
And you talked to, you know, when you hear barbecue, like he had some interesting points,
Yeah, no doubt.
but it's hard to get the truth.
Yeah.
So I have no, you know, whatever, if you want to protest, but man, they were not an intimidating group.
No.
Like I wasn't like,
But is that the point of the protest? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a good thing they're not intimidating.
so maybe not intimidating, but like if I was on the fence on
They
it
weren't
too,
a force.
I was just like, whatever, like it's cute, it's fun, but
Yeah.
like I'm glad you expressed your opinion, but
Yeah.
I felt like maybe there's a lack of a deep understanding of the issues.
Yeah. While we did
When we
interview,
talked to
The gentleman we spoke to, he has a very deep misunderstanding of the issues. And
Yeah, because I mean, it's I don't know. Not that we're any better, but like I think there's, you know, do I support it? No, I mean, there's problems on both sides. I think it's a complex argument. But the protests, I think people like to protest. I think it's fun.
yeah.
It's cute. It's fun.
Well, hang on a minute. I mean, do you think that people are sincerely protesting certain things, or do you think this is just a way to throw a shot at Trump? What do you think here?
I think the people that show up for this stuff are the same people that would have been out for whatever a couple of years ago before. Like I think a lot of times it's the same group of people
Yeah.
they might have been out there for climate change or like.
I think it's more anti-Trump. So that's my position. I think it's
I
more
probably would agree
anti-Trump
with that, yeah.
than it is about anti-immigration.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's definitely anti-Trump. Yeah.
I mean, do you remember one protest when Obama was president for 8 years? Do you remember a single protest
deporting three
deporting?
million.
I think-
3.5 million people deported.
Yeah.
Oh, about this? No.
Yeah, like basically Obama and Trump have the same position on illegal immigration.
What? And you look at the 2020 and 21 numbers. It's crazy, right? So,
Right.
Is it about this? No, it's not about this.
No, it's just a way to go after Trump.
Just like the Israeli Palestine stuff. Like, is it really about that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, when was Occupy Wall Street? That was during Obama, right?
No, Bush.
No,
that was
before
definitely
that.
Bush.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you
No,
sure?
actually, no.
Was
no.
it?
It was
No, it was Obama,
post-Obama.
right? Yeah, because the crash was in
No. Hang on a minute.
No, it was around the Wall Street crash, the 2000. It was around that it was around that
09?
transition 08 when Obama came in, or 08 when did Obama come in?
09. It was 09, right?
No,
Because you
08.
had the
Obama-
bailouts
yeah, it was
of the banks.
Yeah.
And then you had your Occupy Wall Street. I could be wrong about that.
Obama came in 09.
So 08 is the financial crash, right?
Yeah.
The mortgage.
Right. So then that
mortgage
came
disaster.
after the bailout.
So then, yeah, Occupy Wall Street was
See, now that's when I was kind of
09, 02, whatever.
That's
10.
when Obama was. He came in 09 because
Right.
I don't remember it being this polarizing though. I got to say this though. I kind
What,
of
Occupy Wall Street or just?
Yeah. I mean, that one was kind of like that's kind of a,
But again, that was an attack on Wall Street more than
it's kind of, I mean, not for nothing, but like,
it wasn't an attack on Obama.
no, which is interesting, right? Because like the bailout started with Bush, continued under Obama, but it was
Yeah.
directed more towards the issue. I think a lot of this is directed towards the guy, which I get it because he's polarizing, but the Occupy Wall Street, that's when I would have been, I might have held a sign for that one. I didn't, but like I thought about it.
Well, wasn't that the start of the homeless crisis too? Because people were actually going to occupy, like
No, 'cause
setting
it
up
was-
camps and
I think-
occupying like the Rose Kennedy Greenway, like set for
So you
Occupy
gotta remember,
Wall
like
Street,
that
right?
was before the fentanyl thing got really big.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? No, it is. Like before fentanyl got really, like we got flooded with, it was before the zombie apocalypse, really, which was like 11, 12 maybe. I don't know. Right? So, anyways, I was not, whatever. It's nice, it was cute. It was a nice protest, but I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I probably objected. I would have agreed with Bernie and Liz Warren on bailing out the banks after 08.
See, I wanted them to fail.
I wanted them to fail as well.
Iceland style, baby.
Like at some point, you have to pay the piper for being negligent, right? And those banks were negligent. And the argument is, oh, well, you're going to fuel the economy collapsing. And it's like, well, if the economy has to take a bigger hit for people to not do illegal, horrible things, then so be it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take the pain. I think that's probably a underlying issue of everything. Like we are so into, we need short-term results that we have for a long time now not done what's right for the long term. which is interesting about that because I think that Trump actually is the first president I've seen in forever who is actually willing to take some short-term pain to actually cure a long-term problem.
You sound like you're talking about building maintenance in the Lowell public schools.
That too. And you know what, though? That's a good example of a micro example of that in your local area.
Well, since we mentioned the schools, we should ask the opinion. Oh, wait, where'd it go? Oh, there we go. What is Danielle McFadden think?
What's the comment
no
on
comment,
it?
vote Danielle. No comment, vote Danielle. Sorry. Shouldn't bring that up.
Yeah.
But if we were gonna.
Get out and vote. What's that? At large too, by the way?
No comment. No comment.
Smash your at large ballot for Danielle McFadden. Let's go.
By the way,
So did we find out if Jackie Doherty is in or out yet?
I have no idea. I don't.
I think she doesn't live in Lowell anymore. So
Well, no,
it's
there
probably
was
gonna be out.
questions about
No, you
that.
can do that. Her domicile is in Lowell.
Oh, yeah.
That's Dominic Ray, right?
By the way, I have to admit.
What percentage? Is there a threshold for like X percentage of
No, there
your
isn't,
school
actually.
committee members don't
No.
live in Lowell?
I don't know.
There's no threshold? I was just curious.
I think for school committee, it doesn't matter if you live in the city, and you definitely don't have to have kids.
Well,
In fact, apparently it's a bonus. I don't know.
So it's all about the domicile.
I'll tell you what, man. So we were out earlier for the for the teachers, right? And it was mostly low high teachers.
I think it was all the teachers. pretty
That
much,
was
right?
pretty much Lowell High. It wasn't all Lowell High.
So I love making fun of teachers and everything, but like they're a good group. There's a lot of good people down there.
Yeah, it was a nice evening.
It really was, and they're
You know.
yeah. Well, luckily they're smart, right? Because they're teachers or whatever. But it's kind of nice to see the whatever you call it, the unity or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
One more day of work left on Monday.
You know,
So wait.
and they did it. They
You go
did
back
it, but
on
it seems like
Monday?
it seems like they did it right.
Yes.
Do it on Friday,
hurts.
hung over on Saturday, go into work on Monday, and then then you can just like do the rest of the.
All I saw at Cali was a lot of people talking, about what's best for the kids. That's all I saw down there. But it is a fun day in Lowell.
That's what my ears heard.
Huh?
That's what my ears heard.
Oh, it was a good time. But when you talk about all this stuff, I mean, there's a level of dysfunction right now with government, right? And I think it's just kind of.
That's an understatement, Badge.
I mean, there is some good stuff going on. Like I think right now, like the city is well run. You've got what is it like generally you've got 9. It's like a 8 or 9 to 2 or 3 vote, but there's discussion. You've got pushback. You've got a mayor who I think is doing really well. Like
He's running through those agendas like nothing. So no more 5-hour, no more cutting it off at 10 o'clock anymore,
But he's
and then
building-
pushing everything back.
But he's building consensus, right? And then you've got people pushing back on that, right? And then you've got a manager that I think is, I think he's the best one we've had since Brian Martin. I think he's doing a really good job.
He's doing fantastic. Yeah.
Bernie was good too, but like Bernie at least, like I think Bernie didn't exactly build, consensus. I think Tippa kind of like does that balance, and I know you can't talk about it because oh wait, that's Asa, right? Appendix Asa.
I'm happy to talk about Tippa.
But like
I think he's doing a great job.
So there is some function. There is evidence of functional government.
Yeah.
But when you look at Massachusetts, what a fucking shit show this is, right?
Oh yeah, from the governor on down. You
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and like you wonder why. Like think about this because of your stance on, ICE and this and that. California, Massachusetts. This is why you've got ICE in these communities, right? Because they've challenged the federal government, and basically you've got judges that say they're not going to follow through. And Cali, there's this thing in the Constitution. Was it the Supremacy Clause?
Yes.
Doesn't get invoked, but doesn't federal law supersede state law?
Yes, it certainly does. But the whole point, the problem is that you got these, protesters, the people that are just going out there and trying to stop it. And you got these sanctuaries, cities and towns, and the governor who are basically, hey, we're not going to help you. We're not going to help you out. No, they're supposed to. They have the law enforcement are supposed to go support ICE if they're getting in trouble. Like take for example, you saw what happened in Worcester, right? The whole thing.
Somebody gets stuck on a triple decker. Was there a tornado? What happened?
No. So there was an incident in Worcester.
The only 2 things I think of Worcester is triple decker and
Tornado.
tornado.
Was it Springfield that the tornado had? Right on the.
They had
It
one
was
too.
out. Long story short, I was in court in Springfield that morning. I got out.
Like three
I didn't even know what was behind me. I was traveling back. I was traveling back, and someone's calling me. He's like, "Dude, there's a tornado in Springfield. Are you okay?" I'm like, "I already missed it." I'm like, "I'm already gone." But in Worcester, if you saw it, it was like about a month or 2 ago. That that ICE went to arrest, detain and take in a person at their home who had pending charges for beating up her daughter, who was pregnant woman, who was her daughter. ICE found out about it, find out that she was illegal, and got a detainer warrant. Went to go pick her up, and then all the people in the neighborhood found out about it. When ICE came to grab her and take her away, they all just swarmed there and tried to keep ICE from leaving. They had to call in the Worcester Police Department to basically control the mob so ICE can get out. But Worcester, I don't know what I think their policy is a sanctuary city, but they are required to assist ICE, assist law enforcement when something happens.
I don't think Worcester's a sanctuary city. I think it's a gateway city, maybe.
Or something. I don't know. But
it can't be a gateway because there's gateway.
I don't think they're sanctuary. I could be wrong.
I think it's just Boston, Cambridge. Lowell's not.
Yeah.
There's one other in Mass. I think it's Concord.
Melrose or one of those.
Concord.
No, the mayor of it might be Melrose, but he's like the most liberal mayor in the.
Oh, really?
State. Yeah, I can't remember his name. Which one it was.
But they are required to assist. They're not required to assist ICE in carrying out their duties. They are required to assist them when they are in trouble and trying to, carry out their duties, such as these people swarming their car and not letting them leave, and basically trying to detain ICE.
So similar in LA, right? That's what just happened, where ICE is grabbing people, and all of a sudden they're pinned down by an angry mob. They're looking for support from the LAPD, and the LAPD says no. This is the criticism for Trump, right? Which is people are, Trump's overreacting. He's calling in the National Guard.
That goes into the whole National Guard thing, which he has every right to call.
Hang on. Federal employees are doing what they are supposed to be doing. They're enforcing the law on the books. I don't think we have any dispute about that, right? The laws are on the books, and ICE is enforcing those laws through Trump. And when ICE is pinned down by an angry mob and the LAPD refuses to assist, which they should, whether you're a sanctuary city or not, you still have to respond to that. And if they don't, what should Trump do? I guess that's the question, right? Yeah. Is Trump crazy for calling in the National Guard, or is that what he should absolutely do?
Well, I mean, first of all, LA loves to riot every 30 years.
Right.
Okay,
agreed.
60s, 90s now. They're a little late for riot.
Yeah, any dispute on the LAPD showing up for the Rodney King riots? I mean, I don't think so, right?
When the Dodgers won last year, I don't recall it being big riots going on in LA.
Well, they're not the Eagles, Callie. They're not.
No, that's right. They're not the Eagles. You're right. Yeah, they're not Philadelphia. Right?
I did see a pretty funny meme when they were like, the Trump brought in Eagles fans. Right.
But that's what they kept saying. It's like, oh no, this is just like a sports. No, your sports team winning. This isn't a riot. This is just like your sports team winning and stuff. Like, no, it's not.
No.
This is. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No. People lined up on the side of the street as ICE vehicles drive by and whipping chunks of concrete and rocks at them,
whipping them off of bridges while they're driving through. Slamming them down.
That's
on the
violence. That's you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, some of it. All right. Then it's only a handful of people and this and that, but
is it?
I don't know.
It's not. It really.
When you have multiple cars on fire, you have whatever it is. Let's just say it's 10 police vehicles destroyed by debris and stuff being thrown off bridges and thrown by people, and people driving by getting their windows smashed out as they drive by. That's not just a couple of people. It's a significant amount of people that it's worthy of note. I mean, to say this is a peaceful protest is just a lie.
Enough to get the attention of the federal government and the president to say, hey, we got to do something to help them out.
And by the way, should
in '92
should you let the violent protesters win and just withdraw? Is that what you should do so they can't enforce the law? Is that how you should handle this?
I just remember years ago there were, I think it was 5 or 6 climate activists in Boston, and I think they put their hands
the barrels
in concrete.
Super glue.
They blocked the thing, and you're people are trying to go to work, right?
Yeah,
people are trying to.
The ambulance is trying to get into Boston
and all that, and I'm really, are you going to change anything? You're just being a nuisance.
Yeah, you're being an asshole. Yeah,
I mean, there are better ways to protest. There's better ways.
Agreed.
Just don't be a nuisance.
I'm with you on that. The other frustrating thing with that, and the perfect example with that happened. What happened to those people? Nothing. They got hauled into court in front of a judge, and the judge was like, okay, case dismissed. Blah blah blah. It's just nothing. Nothing happened. Don't hear what happens when they do stuff like that, do things that are illegal, that have criminal charges brought against them, rightfully so, and then it just, next thing you know, it just gets swept under the rug. It's just like kind of, all right, well, see you
I guess-
later.
and so,
They don't face punishment. That's why they keep doing it.
Well, what annoys me is that to have an actual debate on the issues, for me, gets overshadowed by my annoyance with protesters getting in the way of people just trying to go about their everyday.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in that example,
It's a quality of life issue.
that example with the one, I remember what you're talking about. They killed a person because there was an ambulance trying to get into Boston that couldn't, the guy was having a serious, like, medical condition, heart attack or something, and the guy died because he couldn't get to the hospital.
Or like the people in Europe that'll go, I think it's mostly in Europe, they'll go in and like they'll destroy priceless artwork. Or
Right.
And you're
Glue
like,
their hands to like the wall.
you're like, come on, guys. Like, why?
Throwing
Like,
soup on the Mona Lisa.
yeah, I mean, luckily it's
they can
covered in
get to it.
glass and everything, but like, imagine.
But not all of them are. Right.
But imagine like you're a 90-year-old lady that, or man or whatever, and all they want to do in their whole life is go
Climate change.
They go see like this piece of artwork and they can't get to see it because, 5 jerks in their 20s with hairy armpits want to throw like, soup on the Mona Lisa to
Yeah.
whatever. The issues are important, but like, just, I don't know. It's just kind of,
You can get your point across a lot better by not doing stupid shit.
and it turns people off. It really does.
It does.
I will say that tonight's protest, I give them credit. Like, they got permits. They kind of like, we saw like the police were there. They were directing traffic around the protest. They had a parade route. They stuck to the, to the right.
The one lane.
Did.
So I'm kind of like, it was more like a.
Well, when you don't have enough people to fill 2 lanes, then you better take one.
I feel like they could have filled 2 lanes, but they were sticking to that line.
Single file.
To make it look good, right? make it look crowded.
It's like wearing. It was like wearing a mask in COVID. It's just virtue signaling.
More signs
It's not
than
really-
legs.
Oh, there you go. But
Anyway.
it was, I don't know, whatever. It was fun. It was fun to go to. It's just great. Like LA thing is just.
We could have had some good conversations. Like, I wish we could have taken their top 5 all-star protesters and given them each a 5-minute interview.
Yeah.
That would
I don't know, man. Callie was pretty hot about the Lad Whitney thing.
He was. Callie was hot about it.
It's just my thing again.
It's a disrespect
Like,
thing.
It's
By the way, why the heck did they bury somebody there? That's kind of a bad spot to throw somebody.
it was just that's back in the Civil War. They brought them home and they buried them in front of the thing and they put the monument up. And I mean, but it's just kind of. I think maybe it was some virtue signaling about because they were the first 2 about like the cause, about what's the cause. No, at that time, obviously for us, it was like the eradication of slavery. But most people would say no, it's like states, just trying to keep the states together and blah blah blah. But no, I mean, remember this is the hotbed. Massachusetts is the hotbed for the abolitionist movement.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was to an extent. You call it at that point virtue signaling about the slavery issue, which is at that point obviously yes, good for you.
We could all agree slavery's bad, right?
Well, I don't know. I kept telling the people like, well, I guess you guys must agree with slavery because you're desecrating the graves of Union soldiers who fought against slavery.
Well,
I mean, I kind of feel bad about telling them that, but whatever it is. But call them out for what it is. They still say they'll say the stupid crap against Trump like that. Then I'll call you guys, call you out too.
Well, we're such a soundbite nation now. It's kind of annoying, right? Because the funniest thing I think I've seen after the LA thing was people talking about how the U.S. invaded Mexico, and so California really
Oh my God!
is really Mexican. You're like, I mean, what?
Now we're going like
Now we're getting that's now we're dumbing
over the line.
I'm like, no. I mean, that happened, but like, I was like, wait, I don't remember it that way. So I was like,
we had a war with Mexico. We have a treaty with Mexico, and we rightfully have California and all the other land.
but
Long live the Alamo.
Long live the Al.
I
Yeah.
did a little like rereading on this thing, right? And so it's kind of an awesome story. So you had the Texans, right? They
They were their own state, own country.
So the Texans, or the people that moved to Texas, fought a war with Mexico. Now Mexico had only been a free country. They broke away from Spain, right? Or revolted against Spain. I think it was in the early 1800s. This is like 30 years later at the most, right? And they lost the war to Texas.
Yeah.
To Texas, like a
Who
state.
wasn't even a state. They were their own
just like
independent
a tiny
country.
Little, a bunch of people from wherever, and they beat the entire nation of Mexico.
Yeah.
So they lost, and then they captured the president of Mexico and made him sign a treaty.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give Mexico credit. Like, yeah, you're not gonna, honor that treaty, but they couldn't do anything about it because they were too weak, right? And then the U.S. comes up with an excuse to take over the rest of the territory, and they couldn't do anything about it. Then they gave them a price for it or whatever. So like, yeah, don't make it sound like that, right? Like, I'm sorry, but if you can't keep your territory, you're gonna lose it. That's just the way of life.
Oh my God.
That's the entire history.
Monstrous attitude you have.
That's the entire history of the world, man. Like,
Yeah, but you know what though? The woke generation today wants you, the aggressor, to give all that land back.
so how far back?
All that conquest. Think of how impossible this would be to reverse all conquest,
You couldn't.
all colonization. Just reverse it all.
We'd have to.
Like we'd be in a perpetual state of reverse.
You'd have to.
Yeah, yeah.
How far back do you go?
And how do we give land back to people who no longer exist? How does that work?
You know what? I'd love to play a game of Risk against those people because I'll win all the time because they will never want to move. They're never like, okay, I'll take it.
In the real world, the big scheme of things, it's an idiotic issue, right?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You were weaker. You lost in a fight for that turf. Like, that may be cold, but that's what happened, and there's no reversing that.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah, and if people are like, well, that was originally like.
And it wasn't you and I who did it either.
Yeah.
By the
I know
way. You what I mean?
it's a non-issue. Like, oh, I think the one I loved was the Mexican border. Oh no, the border. I didn't cross the border. The border crossed me. I'm like, yeah, that's not how it works. I mean, this is the reality of the world.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like the people that are all in love with communism. You're like,
Right. So Marxism plays a big role in this whole thing, right?
yeah.
These protests now, definitely like part of Marxism. We should have asked those questions.
Well, they're waving the Chinese flag. They're waving the Mexican flag, the Chinese flag, and the hammer and sickle flags all throughout these protests everywhere. You know who it
The
is.
Chinese flag. I didn't say
Oh yeah,
Chinese
it's
flag.
been floated. It's been floated around down in L.A. They've been floating.
I haven't
Well,
seen the
that's. I mean,
Chinese
that is the
flag, so-
supplier of their fentanyl. So.
That's true, and probably all their gear too.
But I mean, like, just that whole argument doesn't make any sense to me because you can go, like you said, how far do you go back, right? There's no part of the world that wasn't. The only part of the world that it's got its original owners is wherever humanity, but whatever
First started.
corner of Africa that people emerged from, right? And technically, when you look at it, Europeans were a mix of like people that migrated out of Africa and Neanderthal, right? Another race of humans. Like, what are you gonna give it? Like,
Well, we've always thought Africa, but now they're saying that there's civilizations they're finding in South America, and
Well, they don't
they're
predate.
like closely related to the pygmies, and they're going back beyond Africa.
yeah,
in
so
theory.
you can't go back that far, right?
So
Like,
we still don't even know.
what's the cutoff? Like 1300? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
in that case, the Spanish took over whatever his
Right.
name was, the Aztecs, right? So how far back do you want to go? You can't do that.
Cortez.
It's what it reminds me of, honestly. And so I'm all for neighborhood representation. I think it's a great idea.
We're gonna go Cortez. The conquistadors. And
No,
the
but like,
representation.
I think neighborhood representation is great, but in a way, I kind of got why. If I'm living in Belvedere, right,
Yeah.
and I've got all like whatever it was at the time, 7 out of 9 counselors are from my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They come out and vote.
Fucking heated street is it? Heated
Heated
streets. it is.
street.
Hey, streets, yep.
That's what you get. You heat treated.
Yeah.
Your streets heated and
City
everything
plowing.
else. Yeah, it's because you come out and vote.
Yeah.
You come out and vote. You want to take our power? Come out and take it. Like,
So I kind of agree with that. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I mean, I think things are better now. They are.
I do. I agree with you. I think things are better with the neighborhood representation, but I do think that Belvedere had a way bigger gripe. I think they had an actual argument where don't punish us because we show up and vote,
Yeah,
and you don't.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
That was the gist of the argument.
And I do think it's better.
like I
off.
respect them for showing up and
Yeah.
voting.
And they still do. And so those 3 large seats will until the foreseeable future will be Belvedere. And you see the votes in the other neighborhoods are, really low. And they love to say, oh, well, the candidates and this and that. No, get off your ass and vote. If you want power, you take power. And you take power in an election, in a democracy, is you get out and vote. And if you can't get people to vote, And if you can't mobilize people, you don't deserve the power.
Right.
You got to earn it, man. You should just hand shit over, and nobody's going to hand over power. Come and take it.
So speaking of earning votes,
Yeah.
and this illegal immigration issue, so let's say, for the sake of discussion, we'll keep it nice and broad. 10 to 20 million people in the last 4 years under Biden
You can't call broad. You can't say broad anymore.
have crossed the border illegally. Okay, so you got 10 to 20 million migrants, let's say, many of which are now in blue states, blue cities. You see these protests to keep these people there, whether they're criminals or not. They are affecting democracy, right? Where they are going to be counted in the census. The census is coming up. They're going to be counted. And now those blue states and blue cities are going to have higher numbers of people than they should have. And that's going to represent in their electoral votes and their representatives in the House of Representatives.
Well, that's what it's really all
And your
about.
funding
It's
is
about
going to be
apportionment.
higher as
It's
well.
always been about apportionment.
But what I'm saying is, are we okay with that? Is that, that's cheating, right? I mean,
Well, it's cheating, or it's using it's using.
how's it not cheating?
Well, the next census isn't for another 5 years, and I think that's part of the reason why Trump is kind of
I have
doing
a question
this.
about that. I had an aggressive census taker at my house.
Really?
I thought it was this year coming up.
No, it's every.
Is
It's
it
every. It's on. No, it's on the. It's on the decade.
because of COVID.
No, we did it. No, didn't we do it in 2021 because of COVID?
I don't think so. I thought it was
It's every
before that.
10 years on the odd.
I had to fill out. I filled out a census.
No, that's probably the city sends. The city sends out
No, I
censuses.
had a federal census person
Did you?
at my house.
I'm pretty sure that it's on.
I didn't really
odd year,
wanna-
When is the next federal census?
I didn't really
because
want.
you don't see advertisements for it, so it's
Okay,
like.
I found this on the web for when.
It's 2030, so Cali appears to be.
Is there like an intermediate or
A middle like midterm
census?
census? No, like
don't know.
a more of a like an unofficial like midterm census. Like, hey,
Either way, I
I
guess.
had to go
I guess,
online and fill it out.
I guess the spirit of the question remains.
no, I understand the
same.
spirit of the question. Yeah.
Right. So are we okay with these states cheating the system and getting more representation, more political power, more clout for their community? Well, that's not necessarily representative of the citizens of the United
It's
States.
not good for the community, but if you want to keep your seats, I mean,
Well, I get the power
until
move.
you stop it.
Batch, I totally get the power move. If you want to
Am I okay with
hang
it?
on to your
No.
power, I'm not okay with it either.
Well, I mean, I think you should. I think Paco's the one that always advocates for this, and he's right. I think you need to like double the size of
Congress.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, because he's in New Hampshire. He's a New Hampshire resident, and they have the
Why do-
largest.
when you say double the size of Congress,
So if you look at the,
we're going to go to 4 senators each instead of 2. What difference?
no,
does
I mean
that
the House of Reps. So I'm talking like, so what was that? What was the
Why? What benefit would doubling it do?
So, Cal, you'll in the original like how many representatives you get per population?
But it varies per population. There's never a number set, but it's always been 435 for like the last.
It's like a
No,
district.
but it's based on.
But it's based on population district-wide population district-wide, and they break it down, and then like no. But what happens at the census is it usually winds up coming back to 435 because some states lose, other states gain, and then they just go back and
Right,
forth.
but each of these, each one of them represents a certain number of people.
Yeah,
It's the same number.
Not necessarily the same number. It's
No, it's not
population.
the same number.
It's
It is.
It's.
I don't think so.
It's not necessarily the same number. It's just there's some calculation.
2
thing going
senators
on.
is the same per state.
Right.
But it's
Which
based
some
on
people don't think is fair. I'm like, come on, that's stupid.
But the reps is based on population.
yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So but the problem is it's the same number, give or take. but,
Again,
like,
it's I don't recall.
but in the
There's got to be a ratio in theory, right?
There's nothing in the Constitution that says it has to be 435. It just says
No,
it's by
I know. I'm saying
population.
I'm saying representatives per 1,000 people. It used to be like 40,000. Now it's.
I don't think there was a number. In
So
the
we can
Constitution
revisit
about
this,
that.
but
we
in
can look
theory,
at it,
when you take the population of the country,
Yeah.
divide by say 435.
yeah.
No,
And then-
you
and
take the
then-
population of the country and you divide it by, like, what's how many? It should be in. It's
If
way
we
high.
have 435 reps, in theory, you should take the population of the country, divide by 435, and then whatever that number is, apply it to each state. And it may not be perfect.
That's how they do it. But the number, the original, the first time they did it, it was a smaller number. Like,
Well,
so
there's less people, less states.
Plus, we
Right,
had less
so you-
states. I mean, in
so
the
you're-
50s, you brought on Hawaii and Alaska in the 50s. You brought on Arizona,
four-
South, North, New Mexico, and
all right, but the
in
435
in
number, right?
Yeah.
There's 20 years ago, there were like 200 million people here, right? So
Yeah.
now there's
now like
350.
360 or something like that. Yeah.
So the representatives serve way more people than they used to.
yes.
So we're not getting represented as well as we used to be.
No, I would agree with you on
so
that.
you need more of them because you need smaller districts.
I don't recall in my lifetime them ever changing that number from 430.
They haven't. I'm saying they should. There should be more.
That might be a case.
Yeah, like there should be more. There should be, like look at New Hampshire's.
Do you know that someone's sitting at home right now, like yelling at the screen?
Like, you know,
Idiots, you moron.
I know.
It's probably Paco.
This is how they do it.
No, yeah, New Hampshire's
I
got the
didn't think I
largest.
was going to bring this up, but I'm just saying like we need more representation.
New Hampshire's got the largest. Yeah, they have the largest state House of Representatives in the country.
Or hang
State
on,
House of
Representation is
if
good.
the census is giving us inaccurate data, perhaps we need less representation.
Well, I'm pretty sure the census
But
isn't off by 100 million.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing to consider too. If you add on more representatives, that's more money that's going to be paid to the representatives who are going to be serving. Because New Hampshire, even though like taking
maybe-
Paco's
but
example,
maybe-
they don't get those representatives don't get paid.
But if there's more of them,
They get
maybe you dilute their influence a little bit.
You think that's going to happen?
Well, there's only so much. Only so much.
Like,
payola
hey, you guys
going around.
we got more representatives. You guys got to take a pay cut. Like, yeah, no way.
Well, I think we can agree that government's a little.
You're looking to explode the federal budget for salary pensions.
You cut the salary in half. Then.
Each
I
rep,
can tell you right now, Teddy doesn't like this idea.
yeah.
No, I mean,
We're talking about a new rep. They're going to have a rep. They're going to have a
Staff.
staff. They're going to have a chief of staff. They're going to have other staff
And
work. They're
pensions
going to have
for all.
they're going to have a social media person. They're going to have a
cut it all in half. Cut it all in half.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck convincing the 435 that's
no
already
one will
there.
work the job.
In Lowell, though, I think we should go to 4 years for the council.
How about 3? How about we meet in the middle?
Yeah, three could.
Three's not a bad idea.
I actually
Why not?
think 2 is too short, but 4 might be too long.
Yeah.
So maybe 3 is the right way to go.
So you can do 3, but then you can't campaign until 6 months before the election.
Yeah, I
There's
actually
a rule, I think, in England like that.
can I say that in
By the way, at
politics,
the UK.
I think a weakness of our current political system is that our politicians are so absorbed by trying to get reelected that they are unwilling to do the right thing for the long term.
That's why I think the 4, but the 3 actually makes a lot of
I think a
sense.
lot of us would agree. Like, we would probably be better off with someone who has a long-term vision that is proper and like
Should we ask what is
shouldn't be
no comment. No.
shouldn't be threatened by a 2-year term or whatever it may be.
Well, we should turn because we only got a couple minutes left, but we got to turn attention to something way more important.
Yeah.
I think this is the issue. The issue I think that the city right now is really focused on. Who's going to win the city golf tournament?
The Lowell cities,
The little cities.
Trevor Drew. Is he playing? Is he back in?
as far as I know, he is.
I'm rooting for the chicks. I think it's one of the funniest things in the world. Not the funniest, but like it's awesome that the Smith girls make it every year and they do well.
Yeah.
And they're the best golfers in the city right now. And I think it's cool that they hit from the men's tees and they do well. And people, I just love, a lot of people don't care, but I love that it drives some people crazy. I think it's a great story. And it makes the whole thing interesting. Otherwise, it's just, whatever, some like another couple of old white guys, like, or young white
Oh
guys.
yeah. No, last year Trevor Drew won last year.
Like,
It was
there's
so he-
nobody else in the city that has a chance of doing anything in golf except for these, as far as I know.
So
Except for
Chris
two girls.
Gentle, who's a former champ, can win, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how hard he's been going at it over the past couple of years. I really don't know, so I can't say. But he's definitely a live shot. But Trevor Drew now, he played in Florida.
I think he's in
then he went to
Western Kentucky, yeah.
Right. So he's probably been putting in a lot of high level work
All right, so he's legit.
going into the tournament. Again, he's the defending champ. So
How old is
I
he?
guess he's young, probably like 20 or 19.
Trevor is a sophomore, I think. So
Is he out of
he's probably
NAB? I heard the best golfers are out of NAB. Is that true?
He's not out of NAB. He's
But the
Long
Smith
Meadow.
girls, yeah.
Have you guys, NAB ever won?
I think NAB's got 3 of the last 4 champs, actually.
Oh, really? In
Yeah,
Vespa?
I think Gillis won twice, and someone else won too. I can't get them up. Allison Walsh's husband. I can't think of his name for the matter.
Okay.
But he's now at Vesper, so you could probably count him as a.
I think it's a great tradition around here, and but I love the fact that those girls, the Smith girls, are in there.
What was it? Molly was in the finals last year with Trevor. I think one of them was.
It was a playoff between Molly.
It was a playoff between Molly and Trevor. Yeah, they tied up, and then they had to go back to the 18 and come back. Might have been twice.
And they're friends, by the way, right? I don't know if you know that, but I know like Trevor caddies for her in the women's cities.
Well, he's a great kid.
Trevor's an awesome kid. His family,
he is a great kid.
The family, the whole Drew
Robbie
family.
and Kara did a great job with that.
Yeah.
With him. I mean, he's just a nice.
The whole
kid.
Drew family, all great people. So
Yeah.
Well, good. I
We're
hope
rooting for that.
yeah.
So obviously next Saturday it's going to rain
Obviously.
Yeah.
because it's
Is
been
that the final round?
The 100th anniversary.
This tomorrow's what, 13 in a row, Callie?
Yeah, 13 in a row.
We're going to be playing golf
yeah,
tomorrow.
but
Happy birthday, Jimmy.
yeah.
Seamus's big birthday.
Seamus's big 50th birthday. Well, it's the end of the month, but we're celebrating tomorrow.
But I think it might not rain all day, right? It's supposed to be like a spot shower.
Yeah, it'll be raining when we're golfing in the morning.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed we're going to get hit.
But the afternoon's going to be all
The
right.
afternoon, yeah, when you guys come celebrate with us after we're soaked and
We'll be
coming
able
in.
to dry out in the sun.
That's the key. If you wake up late enough, you don't get the rain.
It won't rain. It won't rain on Jimmy though, because he's all sunshine and roses because he's the greatest LHS history teacher of all time,
Yes.
and the first
Urban
first ever taped guest of the Kelly Clarkson show. So
I do know that.
Yeah.
I do know that piece of trivia. I don't know if I've ever seen him smile, but I'm sure that's a happy piece of trivia.
I can't find the tape of that either. I looked on YouTube everywhere. I'm sure that he's got a.
What, you people didn't tape it?
I've seen it on YouTube.
Is it on YouTube? All right, I got to
The
find it.
Callahan family didn't throw it in the old beta
Urban-
or whatever you
No,
got.
I didn't have a DVR. I didn't
Urban
have
Dictionary
DVR.
/ Kelly Clarkson. It's got to come up.
It's I'll look it up. But no, he has. You can look up the articles too. You'll still find the.
Oh, I remember
articles.
the article. It was pretty cool. What was that, like 2006?
I know we're almost done, right? But we have to ask. We have a lawyer here, right?
Yeah.
So, Karen Reed, closing arguments was today.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
Did you watch the closing arguments?
I did.
Okay.
Have you
Alan,
ever, have you ever seen though?
Let's get predictions here. Let's hear. What will the verdict be?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yeah.
Will it be not guilty with extreme prejudice?
Not guilty with extreme prejudice, just like Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Not guilty with extreme prejudice.
I don't see how you can. I don't see how a jury could be like, make a decision one way or the other.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't know how they can make a decision.
You think it might be hung? A hung jury again?
You're seeing a hung jury.
You've got to figure. I mean, I think.
What happens when you have a double hung jury, lawyer?
They can bring the charge. They can bring the charges. The Commonwealth can bring the
Third
charges.
time? They're
As
going to
many-
waste the state of Massachusetts money a third time?
Did you see that documentary about the guy, that trial 4 that went through 3? No, he got convicted, overturned, hung jury, and then he had to go through 4 trials until the Commonwealth finally said, but the Commonwealth's going to be insane. If this is another hung jury, they're going to be insane.
They were insane to run it back a second
I
time.
know.
I think it's going to be a hung jury.
Do you really?
Yeah, because it's really like there's so much doubt. But
No,
there's
the whole
also-
doubt is supposed to be on they're supposed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, which is why.
What percentage of trials end in a hung jury? It's got to be.
Oh, it's not that. It's not
like
a lot.
1%.
It's I don't know.
2%. Less than.
Less than
1%?
probably 1 to 2%. I think not a lot.
I just gotta say, and I don't know any of these people personally, but all of them seem very unlikable.
Oh, I've seen every single one of them.
You check about the
whole
Higgins Albert cartel.
McCabe's, the Alberts, the Higgins.
I mean, I never met any of them, so
Auntie Bev.
I got nothing against her. I know people. She's
even the
she's a
judge is
like,
unlikable.
Okay, so Boner's on here a lot with Teddy.
Yeah, and Leslie. Oh wait, I think he said.
I thought he said boner too.
I say boner?
Boner.
Yeah.
Leslie. I think he said boner.
But anyhow, right?
Sylvester Stallone from the from Gross.
She seems to think that Karen Reed is guilty.
Well,
She's law enforcement. So of course she's going to think
ex-state trooper. of
Yeah.
course.
So
But her.
Does she have a relationship with Proctor? Where's this going?
No, but I will say that her explanation.
How do you listen to this? How do you watch all this evidence and come up with that conclusion?
Her theory, and I think is a decent one, is that she backed into him and didn't realize it because she was hammered.
Well, that's
the whole Commonwealth's theory, but they haven't.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's no evidence to back that
Yeah.
up. All the evidence.
Well, I
shows
mean, there
something
was.
Even the injuries alone is like the guy had no damage to any of his internal organs at all
Right,
when he
so
got hit by a car.
Right, so what
How's
does
that possible?
But so what does that tell you?
It tells us he got punched in the face, bit by a dog, went flying out of the stairs and landed.
And then dragged out to the front
So why haven't they asked the dog? Oh yeah, the dog.
Oh, the dog got rehomed.
Because everyone rehomes their dog.
You can translate rehomed to what you're probably saying.
Everyone the same day replaces their basement flooring. Gets rid of their
had to get their cell phones updated.
Their lifelong dog.
Had to get their cell phones updated.
Wait, maybe
they all destroy their cell phones.
One of them, Higgins throws his cell phone in a dumpster on
nothing to see here.
Higgins throws his cell phone in a dumpster on an army base. Like goes to an army base and throws his cell phone in a dumpster.
Go into the Canton police at like 3 or 4 in the morning,
drunk,
totally normal.
After out drinking all day.
Yeah. No,
just to move cars, by the way.
Maybe they're all in cahoots.
No.
No, like
then there's the whole plow driver driving by where there's no dead body.
So they can all make money off of this?
Yeah, it's all a big scam. No, I don't know. But that's my thing. Like
they killed the guy. They didn't mean to. They punched him in the face. Whatever. He goes flying down a flight of stairs. Ends up smashing his head off the ground.
Poor guy and his family
gets bit by the dog. Why's the dog biting the guy? Obviously, because he's fighting with whoever lives in the house. Whatever.
Or they dragged him out there and the dog got let out and he's like, there's meat.
But how do they know it's not a pre-existing dog bite?
But Karen Reed must have been next level hammered to not notice any of this.
Yeah, I mean,
or did they punch him in the face after she drove away?
Could have been. I don't know.
But this is my whole point. Like, there's so many. It depends on what you dismiss and what you agree with, and like whatever. So I think you're gonna trying to find 12 people to agree on anything nowadays. I could see a hung jury coming.
No.
Because it's got to be. It can't be. It's got to be.
How are you going to find her guilty beyond reasonable doubt?
Yeah.
You have experts testifying saying, I didn't get into that because he clearly wasn't hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's pretty telling.
I would. If I was on the jury at this point, I'd say let her off. But I'm just saying.
And it's not just reasonable. That's like beyond a reasonable doubt. It's to a moral certainty too. It's a little extra dig there that
you and your words.
That's the whole point. That's like part of it. That's part of the whole. That's Massachusetts. So we have that little added.
People in a jury know like moral certainty.
They probably. How many people you think understand what a moral certainty is?
We should define moral certainty.
It means you're wicked sure.
Yeah, like I'm wicked sure. So sure. I went to church and I asked God, and God said, "Yeah."
No, but it's basically just saying like you really believe this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for everybody to agree.
The Commonwealth, they'd be insane to retry her again, unless they just like are looking for more. It's just because it's just going to keep putting the spotlight on the Norfolk County DA's office. It's going to put spotlight on Morrissey and all this thing. And then the feds, at that point, the feds are probably definitely going to step in.
Is there a way to declare like a mulligan?
We bad, like
just a mulligan. Just like, hey, whatever happened.
That was the first trial.
Well, just
the Commonwealth says, "Hey, we bad. We're going to dismiss these." Like, with prejudice. See you later. Thanks for coming.
We don't know what happened. Everybody just don't kill anybody.
Yeah.
And use Uber. That's the end of it.
And the thing is, the Commonwealth wants to not guilty because then they can finally wipe their hands and say, "Hey, we tried. Sorry."
Yeah, I actually agree with Callie on this. I think the not guilty. We tried to pin it on her, even though she didn't do it. She got found. So. No harm, no foul, and
we did our best.
Our friends, the Alberts, whoever who actually did it,
McCabe,
whoever that person is, not saying who it is, but someone in that house, they get to walk because they had political connections.
Well, so at this point, all the deliberations are over, right? So the jury's
deliberations are going on. The whole trial is over. They're in jury deliberations right now.
So deliberations going now.
Yeah, okay. They're not over. If deliberations are over,
can they answer on the weekend, or does it have to be a weekday?
Mm-hmm. If the court could have asked them to stay over the weekend, but this is Massachusetts. They're not going to do it. No, never. So they're coming back on Monday.
Hang on, they get to go home.
Yep.
Talk to other people.
They were instructed not to talk to other people. That's the whole point. They were also instructed not to. They were also instructed not to look at the news.
Wait, so they're not sequestered?
No. That's the other thing that boggles my mind.
You know what?
On both of these trials,
that is kind of bullshit. They're not sequestered.
That's crazy.
For both of these trials, they're not sequestered. The jury. That boggles my mind.
Definitely not guilty. There's no way. There's zero chance. 12 jurors are
somebody's getting a phone call
from Turtle Boy.
No, not from Turtle Boy. From probably someone in Canton.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or no. Hey, what's up, man?
How much?
How you doing?
At some point they'll. Well, I guess they don't, right? They don't release the jury's names, right? Unless the jury wants to.
No, but there's people.
Anyone who's motivated to know would find that out.
And you're telling
Yeah.
me there's people in that courthouse. They can see the jury. They know that they can recognize them. You know, I'm sure someone can find out who that person is.
Who
or
would be
one
the best
is or two.
person from Lowell to be on that jury? How much fun would it be?
Oh, jeez. Teddy.
Well, hang on.
Teddy,
How,
yeah.
like,
From Lowell in general?
what are we looking for from our juror?
Just like who would you
Loose slips? What are we talking about?
like? Just how much fun would it be if so and so was on that jury?
Like OG?
Oh, shit.
OG would be great. Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be interesting.
Babyface, maybe.
Babyface?
Well, I don't know.
Uh,
So it'll be interesting to see.
that's a good that's a good exercise. We'll have to
Think about that for the next couple of days.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, we enjoyed our fun tonight with the protests and talking to you folks, and
Who's going to win the U.S. Open? Real quick. Go ahead.
I'm staying out of that.
I like Shoffley actually. I think Shoffley's gonna probably come back.
You like Shoffley, huh?
Yeah.
I think Burns will be in the lead for round 4. I think he'll actually play well tomorrow and then find a way to blow it.
Well, Scotty's what, 7 strokes behind?
I actually think.
Oh, is that
Scotty-
it? I thought it was last. It's only 7 strokes behind.
So Scotty putted so bad today,
Yeah.
and he's still only 7 shots back.
Oh,
I could see the field getting hurt and Scotty having a hell of a round.
Yeah.
And I think he could make up this. I don't know what the price tag is on Scotty. I bet it's a solid price tag.
Yeah.
He was plus 275 to win the tournament at the beginning. And he's probably way better than that now. So maybe betting him going into
I
tomorrow's
thought he was
round.
further back than that. The last I thought it was.
I think he was plus 4 and the leader is minus 3.
-3, yeah.
Burns is in first at
Burns
minus
is first,
3.
-3, yeah.
Scotty's at plus 4.
Shoffley was like about 5 or 6.
There's nobody else on the leaderboard that was. that
I
you-
don't think Shoffley can make up the ground like Scotty can.
But there's nobody else ahead of him that you're like, all right, they're gonna.
Right.
keep
No.
this up.
This is this U.S. Open.
I mean, it is Friday,
is
right? So
currently
it's kinda-
wide open.
You hear the stories about Oakmont, and
Yeah.
that course is just a brutal course.
It's a brutal course. So if you're just off by a little bit, you could just get absolutely punished.
Yeah.
You know what sucks though? After this, what's the next good sport? Well, they get the finals right now. I mean, the NHL finals are awesome right now, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
although
The NBA has been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I got the
Where did the Pacers come from?
Yeah. And the
Right.
Open, you have the Open Championship next month
Open,
too. So
yeah.
and then after
Oh,
that,
that's true.
and then it's
And then it's
football,
all about
baby.
Roman Anthony and football.
And Roman Anthony,
preseason.
Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, and Garrett Crochet, and then that's it.
Killing my summer with the Red Sox. All
Unless
right.
you're a basketball summer league guy, which I'm not.
Well, enjoy the NHL playoffs right now. They're awesome. These games.
Both of them, the NBA and the NHL, they're both fun to watch. They're both going
If the
down to
Pacers win though, that'll be awesome.
It would
That would,
be.
and I would give all credit
That
to
would
Rick
be a
Carlisle.
monster upset.
That would be
It really would.
That would be all Rick Carlisle. 'Cause you remember back in 2011 when,
you know what, Kelly?
the Dallas Mavericks beat the Miami Heat?
I got it on them at plus 1600.
Yeah, was it?
On the Pacers?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
But you know what you say, it's all Rick Carlisle, and Carlisle deserves a lot of credit. But those players are playing, especially on the defensive side of the ball, they're playing out of their minds.
Yeah, they never played any defense before.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The commitment, and they're playing like half court, like full on.
Yeah.
Everyone is locking down on D, which is impressive.
Do you think when Rick Carlisle was younger, he looked a little bit like Rodney Elliott?
I met Rick Carlisle when I was a kid when he was playing for the Celtics. He came to speak. He came to speak at my school.
I met him at KC basketball camp.
Free throw clinic. Him and Jerry Seasting.
No,
I
yeah.
met Jerry Sifting. He's a nice guy.
He was a great guy.
He was small for like a big guy. Like a small.
Sheasting was, yeah. Sheasting was only 6'1", 6'2",
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
My only
Mr.
encounter
Canny's
with,
taller than him, I think.
Yeah.
my only encounter with Larry Bird, he was a dink,
Oh God.
which was a little sad, but.
I told you the stories about when my
Finally
dad,
get to meet
my dad
Larry
met
Bird, and he's
Bird.
like, "Fuck off, kid."
Yeah, good.
Kind
Yeah,
of
my
the same,
way.
almost the same experience my dad had, but Larry Bird called my dad the most annoying man he ever met in his entire life.
Oh my God.
The biggest asshole athlete I met was Tommy John. That guy was awesome.
And my dad was thrilled. He's like, I talked to
Oh,
Larry
really?
Bird.
Yeah, but the poor guy's always having surgery.
Every shoulder was covered.
Every couple of days, every year, they'll have some guy, Tommy John surgery. Oh, like, you poor guy. All right.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Have a good one. Peace.